What are you going to do between now and the end of the year to really propel yourself into Q1? Some of it's going to be foundationally speaking. Some of you guys are going to try and get in as many contacts in 1 month than you've ever gotten in before, because this is the easiest month to reach out to people. I don't care if you've been reaching out to people like 5 different times a month like Ann has. This month, she's going to reach out 6 different times. Right, Ann?
Yes, most definitely.
Tim, lay it on me, my friend. How are you finishing out this year strong?
My plan is to be in front of at least 3 FSBOs every week.
Nice.
And make sure I commit to the follow-up plan every week with them, and really get the basis down of what that looks like as far as when I do meet with them, what it looks like, what I'm doing to provide value for them, and my follow-up system down to
Great.
that.
No, that's awesome. And I want to give you some kudos on that and some things, because Tim, how many other agents are going to be following up with them on a weekly basis this time of year?
Maybe like at max 3 or 4.
Yep. And how slow is the market going to start to get as far as listings coming on and possibly even listings going off the market? Depends on the price point. Don't get me wrong. If you're in the 300s, you're still flying.
I mean, I'm assuming I'm almost a year now in real estate. I'm assuming it's real slow because that's all I hear.
It can be, and that's only because not enough of us are reaching out and having conversations with people. So this is going to be a great month for Sphere follow-up, as well as that cold lead gen through FSBOs, right? FSBOs on the market right now are going to be a little bit less active. A lot of times FSBOs sell because agents like myself and like you guys should be doing, when you have a buyer, search for FSBOs if they're not finding anything on the open market for them, and go sell that thing. But this time of year, there's a lot less agents working with buyers. There's a lot less agents working with sellers. There's a lot less agents willing to make cold calls and dial into those for sale by owners. And so imagine if Tim sticks to his game plan for December, he's going to be the one that's in front of them come, January, when they're frustrated and fed up with why they can't sell their house, and he'll get the listing. Awesome, man. Caleb?
One thing I'm doing is tracking again my one thing. Everything else is a distraction until that one thing is done. So getting back on contacts, trying to get one person a week to get in front of, to see if I can do a consultation with. And then getting back into lead gen. Last week obviously wasn't the best. So I was doing okay there for a while. So hopefully for December, I've talked about going through my sphere and going through people I know, through friends, family. Maybe kind of like Ann, just maybe reach out for a 4th or 5th time. And not business related. That's when I've had the most success. So I'm not, they know I'm an agent by now. So I'm just looking to talk. Some of them know I'm calling, and I've had 3 cups of coffee, and they know what they're about to get. So.
No, I love that, Caleb. This is the time. I take advantage of it. We have all the excuse in the world. I don't care if you talk to your Sphere members 2 weeks ago. Talk to them again about the holiday season, because what happens is, and I think if you guys nod your head yes or no, I don't really care. How do you guys feel coming off of the holiday weekend or off of Thanksgiving? Do you feel like it's a different set? It's like a different mode. It's a different trigger in most people's heads right now. 2 weeks ago, they were still running life day to day, finishing up 2020, the hell year. And now people are done with Turkey Day. They're thinking about the holidays, travel possibly. Maybe they can't travel, how they're going to interact with their family. For some reason, this month is crucial. And it's so impactful when you guys can talk to your sphere. And you guys don't have to ask for business. This is not really the month to ask for business. If you want to, great. But I would, like Caleb said, be careful. If they know you're in real estate and you're effectively touching people with your touch program outside of your phone calls, your touch program, your emails, your email signature, your handwritten notes, all of those things are what ask for business. Keep it that way and keep it simple, and wish them a happy holiday. Ask them what they're doing, and you'd be surprised where the conversation would go. Cool. Speaking of one thing, we've got a lot of new people on here. Let me share with you guys my screen. This is another month where our days can really go awry if we don't have a methodical to-do list. So let's just go over this to-do list. This is probably one of the most powerful things that I use in busy times. This is definitely the thing I use all year long, but I'm hyper active about it during the spring, summer, fall, when things are super busy with life and work and, play, and then the holiday season as well. So if you guys all have, and if you guys, anybody needs it, here's our Google Drive. Inside of our Google Drive is all these folders. I've been working on it. I've got a couple new things actually to show you before we look at that to-do list. I finally have in here, if you guys go on buyers or sellers, I finally have in here, and I'm still tweaking it. There's one last thing I want to do. I want to put some check boxes by all these things. And I also am going to start to embed some of these videos. I think I have one video in here right now. So this is kind of your walkthrough. This is finally, I've created a master version of, if you get a buyer, now what? Like your step-by-steps, how to, and then it goes a little deeper into the rhymes and reasons why. So one of the things that I'm going to be working on possibly today is inserting the link to the buyer's consultation video. So instead of, going straight to the YouTube dashboard to the playlist, it'll just be embedded into these different documents. We're also going to put these little check boxes here on every checkbox applicable area. So it's going to be like a checklist for your buyers, as well as kind of an explanation, as well as kind of some of those detailed pieces that other checklists don't have, such as, making sure you set up the walkthrough and coordinate the keys and garage door openers and all of that. So take a look through there. We've got it in there. I'd love your guys' feedback. I'd love to see what I'm missing, what I maybe need to explain further in detail. Happy to tweak this. You guys know I'm not set on any one thing I create. Let's tweak it. Let's create this thing the way you guys want to see it. So read through the buyer's one, and then the seller's one. It should be up here as well. Yeah, I have a seller now what. Pretty powerful. I apologize for those of you guys that have been going through contract or some of you guys' contracts without having a master checklist like this. It has taken me quite some time to set aside the time to do it, as well as create it. So tweak it, question it, poke holes in it. I want somebody to be real hard on me with this, so that way we can really make sure this is done and off the ground by January. Going back here, so the to-do list. Nope. Like I said, this is a busy time of year, and to-do lists, I know we've gone over this quite a few times, but some people might need it again. The rule of thumb with to-do lists is usually a to-do list is a brain dump, and then without any sort of direction, you can go into basically cherry picking off of the to-do list, doing the easy things, doing the things that you're willing to do. So, you can convince yourself, well, if I do this, it'll motivate me to go do this. And the reality of things is you might be able to get your to-do list halfway done, but do you feel accomplished? Did you get your major rocks out of the way for the day? So what you want to do is use number 1 through 10 as your brain dump. That's where you just write down everything that you need to write down everything that's on your mind, every, voicemail you need to check, follow-ups you need to do. But make sure that this is no longer than 10 items. All right. I see a lot of people turn these into me and just ask me if this is what, they should be working on. And I'll see 1, 2, and 3 be different people's names. And then when I ask them, they'll say, well, yeah, I need to follow up with those 3 people. In reality, that should be just one entry, right? It should say lead follow-up, and then maybe in the subcategory, list the 3 names out, and that's just one list of things. So make sure you don't do more than 10. Do not trick yourself into thinking you can do more than 10. And chances are, if you can knock out all 10 in one day, it's kind of like that example that I gave you. Probably a couple of them should be combined, or none of them are really your major rocks, and maybe it's just more of a tidy up type of day. So fill out your 1 through 10. After your 1 through 10, This is when I say, you know, if you were to have a major incident in your life, an accident, something with your family, something with yourself, and you had to shut down and be done with work by noon, what are the top 4 things out of that list that would have to be done in order for you to still have a successful day? So then you take your top 4 from your top 10 and place them in here, and then so on and so forth. Your top 2 out of your top 4, and then deduce that down into your most important thing of the day. So for Tim's example, his most important thing of the day for the entire month of December would be 3 FSBOs a week. So he'd have to break that down and saying, I'm going to call 5 FSBOs a day to hopefully get 3 people out of 15 to actually sit down with me. Caleb's example would be, you know, how many Sphere members are you going to call? How many people a day are you going to call before you can even jump into your secondary to-do list or your second piece of your to-do list? Going through this, feel free. It's December. Add your family things in there. Make sure that you guys are staying on track. This is such an important month. I cannot stress it enough for your Q1. If you don't get Q1 off on the right foot, you're doubling down in Q2 and Q3. And when is everybody the most busy? Q2 and Q3. That's why. If we don't do it this month, you're going to be the problem. You're going to be the one that causes us to stay in that similar type of seasonality trend. And I'm telling you, that trend doesn't exist unless you allow it to. And December is where it starts. That's why we're hitting so hard on this right now. Any questions so far? Make sense? Cool. Melissa, you're on mute.
Thank you. This month I want to get 200 new database ads, 10 new leads who are looking to buy in the next year, 1 under contract, and hopefully 2 more agency agreements.
Man, that is a measurable month. Look at my smiling ear to ear. I can't even help it right now, Melissa. That's a measurable month. That's fantastic. Since you went through that so quickly, tell me just in a brief another sentence, how are you going to accomplish all of that? What's your main contributor for adding to your database and getting those leads?
Facebook ads.
Perfect. Ed, you're on mute, my friend. Hey, Ed, you're on mute, my friend. Can you hear me? Ed might be on the phone. Erica?
My December goal is lead generation. Specifically, I want to do, I think, 1 new lead per day, per week. So looking at like 20 to 30 leads in the month. I ran my first Facebook ad this week. So I've got 2 leads off of that. However, both of them are on the do not call list. So my question was, what should I do with that since they're both on the do not call list?
This is a fantastic question. I love this question. I need the group's opinion. I know my answer. Can she call or can she not call, and why?
To me, she can call because they opted into one of her ads, or she can email.
Anybody else?
I agree with Ann, yeah.
Yep, spot on. So even if they're on the do not call list, that's one of the anomalies with the do not call list. It's basically like if you put yourself on the do not call list, then you can't go and sign up on third-party websites or at the mall or do anything of that nature. So here's the one thing that you have to be aware of, Erica. They can, when they're on the do not call list, but they opt in, you can absolutely call. But you have 90 days to basically get a hold of them.
Okay.
Yep. After that, then they're basically that entry. They're back on the do not call list, and that timeline has passed. The FCC says that they no longer are interested in your services after 90 days of no response.
Okay. Does that 90 days reset then if I do get a hold of them, or am I good from that point on unless they ask me not to call them back?
Exactly. If you engage with them in the first 90 days, then they basically, you can think of them. They might be on the national do not call list, but on Erica's call list, they're on absolute anything you want until they tell you not to. Yep.
Good deal.
No, that's a really good point. The reality of things is I've got people that are probably on the do not call. I don't really know, but when people subscribe to me and they're on my 8x8 touch program, the 8x8 lasts for 8 weeks, and so there's 2 months out of it already. If I don't get a hold of them, then they most likely will go on a 2-year drip campaign for emails and possibly text messages if I'm paying for them at that time. And so, I've never had anybody call me out, but just be careful. If they're on the do not call list, they don't answer within the first 90 days, make that decision. Mine are pretty canned. I let people, unsubscribe and do all of that stuff. And it's come back around. If they're looking to buy a house, they're not upset.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
Ed, do you have your microphone working?
Yes, it is. That was a case of barking dog. I turned it off.
Oh, okay. Got you.
So I have no guarantees that he won't interrupt.
That's all right.
Anyway, just to continue with the farming area, there's quite a few people that didn't answer at all, and I called them once or maybe twice. And I need to somehow call them at a different time of day, that type of thing, just to get that first phone call. Also, the expireds and FSBOs, doesn't seem to be too many FSBOs in the last couple of days. But what I have been doing, if I call them once or twice, if they're in the area that I'm calling, the cities that I'm interested in, then it's a case of, maybe not following up close enough or calling them often enough to get that first reply back. So I'm having some difficulty there. Other than that, I'm thinking of another farming area as well that I know some folks in that I'm going to approach it, not too many at a time, but hopefully in December add at least one farming area.
What do you mean by hopefully not contacting too many people at a time?
Well, I mean, rather than, if there's 500 people in the farming area, just maybe limiting and, working kind of one area at a time, rather than starting with 300 numbers or whatever. That might not be the correct method, but.
So this is, in correct me if I'm wrong, Ed, just snowball with me here. So this seems to be a consistent thing for you right now. So you're
Right.
constantly farming. You're not having the greatest luck either getting a hold of somebody or converting them. How many, what kind of call or what kind of contact goal do you have like per day or per week for this farming?
Well, I changed that a little bit. Some days if I'm doing something else and I think, well, I can still get in 5 calls or 10 calls or whatever. But I think probably 20 calls a day would be a minimum,
20 calls or 20 contacts, like actually
20 call-
talking to 20 people or dialing 20 numbers?
20 calls, trying to get, after I get the number, trying to get some people to talk to.
Okay. Are you willing to challenge yourself? Because this month is where people are going to answer more. And so if you could even try and get your dials up to 25 to 30 a day, the rule is on average about maybe 20% of people pick up. So if you have 20 people a day, are you talking to around 4 people?
Some days, yes, some days, no.
Okay, but on average?
Probably close to that, probably 2 to 3, I would say.
Okay, 2 to 3. So out of the end of the week, we're at probably anywhere between 10 and 15 people.
Right.
Okay.
Max, yeah.
Okay.
Which
And
isn't
so,
great, I know.
Well, and I just want to make sure I can help you, my friend. I strongly have I have a large pull for all of you guys. When you guys interact with me, I'm vested. And so I don't mean to call you out right here, Ed. I just want to make sure that you don't get frustrated with your business, because if we have about 10 to 15 people a week, then that means on average per month, we're going to be at, 40 to 60, depending upon how you're doing. And so out of that month, You may or may not, that's the hardest part about the law of averages with this, is you may or may not pull a lead in 1 month off of those. And so I just want to make sure you don't get frustrated with your business, because this month is a great month to pull a higher volume of leads. There's going to be a higher volume of people that answer just because they're home. It's the season. This is the season people talk to people. The sun is going down quicker. It's colder outside, family, friends, you name it. So you're going to see answer rates jump to about from 20 to 40% is my prediction. With COVID, it pretty much jumped from about 10 to 15% to 20%. And then I think with COVID and the holidays, it's going to do even further. So I just want to make sure you know that you're on track for about a lead that way about, well, once or twice a month.
Okay,
Okay.
Good.
Cool.
thanks.
Eric, some people switched around on me. Chelsea, do you want me to pick on you? Chelsea's a brand new guest for us. Welcome, Chelsea.
Hi, thank you.
You don't have to give us your commitment for the end of the year. Chelsea just
Okay.
got licensed. She's going to be just preparing her own business. She's deciding on what she's going to do. Welcome. If you have any questions, want to
Thank you.
chime in on anything that we're talking about, ask for clarity. I do talk a lot about the same things over and over again, but I also talk about some new things often as well. So welcome.
Thank you.
Sorry, some things switched around. We went Caleb, Tim, Erica, Chelsea, Ed. Brashears.
I just went, but I can do it again.
I was a joke. I was just making sure. No, I want to shout out to Ariana. What did Ariana do this past week?
I closed on Friday and went under contract on another place on Sunday. Well,
my
under
gosh,
agency
yay.
agreement.
I was gonna say you went under contract. You didn't even tell
No.
me.
My parents did want to go today under contract, but then they found out it looks like so much like a home. I was like, it says it's a home, a residential detached. I spoke with the builder right now. He's like, it's a mobile home. So and I was like, oh yeah, they're not interested. But
Gotcha. Is that over in Fort Lupton?
Plateville.
Platteville? Okay. There's a
Platteville.
couple areas. Is that on like an acreage?
A little smaller than acreage, like a small piece.
Gotcha. Cool. Congratulations. First
Thank you.
closings are huge. What did you learn from that closing?
A lot, like everything you could say.
Did you see?
Um,
You're one of the ones that I've like been. Every time you and there's another guy, Sam Duran. Every time you guys call me about like a step in the process, you'll notice like I built that template off of your questions. I'm so proud of you.
Really?
Congrats. Yeah. No, seriously, take a look at that doc. Have you been on the call this whole time?
Yes.
Okay, so you saw that I have a buyer, I have a seller now. Okay, cool. Tweak that for me. Let me know if you see anything that I'm missing for sure. Focus for December.
I think it would be reaching out to my sphere of influence, not just my contacts that are on my phone, like actual phone number and like people I know, but like I would say like me
So this is
Facebook
Anne,
people
and I'm super excited to report my November.
and the Instagram followers.
Yep.
So I want to reach
Okay,
out to
cool.
those
So
more.
touching those one-off sphere members you might not have a phone number for.
Yes.
That's awesome. Do you know approximately how many people you have for that?
At least 100.
Okay, cool. So then that's your goal for December. 100 of those reach outs. Awesome.
Yep.
Awesome. Are you working a lot at your other job too?
No.
Okay.
So I'll get around for sure.
Sweet. And how are your what do I call it? Your
My
marketing
leads?
efforts through your business organizations going?
I've been posting at least more frequently on Instagram. More posts on there and more on the story side of Instagram. So
I meant your grocery stores and your shops that you were going around to and handing out flyers to and
Oh.
stuff. Are you still working on that? Because this is a good month to go
I want to
re-engage.
do the door little signs, the door hangers, and try that in my neighborhood and see how that goes for me. Because we don't have strict rules here in the neighborhood. So, and it's in
Cool.
Longmont, so I'll
Cool.
try that.
Cool. Yeah, reach out if you have any questions on designing that. Make
Okay.
sure it's my rule of thumb for marketing where you're just generically door knocking, guys, is make your marketing something that you guys can pick up and take to any town, any city. That if you're door knocking a specific neighborhood for the stats in the neighborhood, chances are you're printing off a flyer and you can print off kind of what you have. But since she's going to be door knocking with some door hangers, it's going to be cheaper for her if she buys something in bulk. And probably, has some for, next year as well. I don't know, maybe Ariana, you can tell me differently. Maybe they're doing some specials, on something like that. Sometimes you'll see those print medias that will give you 100 for the same price as if you would buy, 500 this year. Just
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
like that.
Do you
Yeah.
recommend any websites or any places to get them at? Like, what's your go-to for design?
Honestly, I have a couple of go-tos. I still to this day like to kind of price shop around. I like Build a Sign.
Yep.
I like Oak. I'll write this in here for you guys.
Oakley Signs, Vista Print.
Those are my top 3. Yep.
Okay. Awesome.
No, awesome for you, man. Congrats.
Thanks.
Congrats. Patrick had some success these last couple of weeks too with his leads. How are those going, my friend? Before you jump into December, I haven't asked you about your leads.
So one of the leads I put on to a monthly market snapshot. Unfortunately, when I went and checked on command, she hasn't opened the email and viewed it. The next step I have for her is I'm going to send her a thank you card. And then shortly after that, I was going to actually reach out to her via phone and check and see how she is doing, in the holidays, and also to see if she's received both the snapshot and the card.
Is that your Dacono?
No, I haven't heard back from her. I sent her a text wishing her a happy Thanksgiving, but I haven't heard anything yet from her.
Cool. Nice. We'll work on that. Hang in there. I know her game. We just got to keep in front of her, and she sees your stuff. I know she does.
Cool.
What's your December focus?
So December focus, I want to continue circle prospecting. I am determined to get a listing from circle prospecting. My goal right now daily is a minimum of 20 conversations with, I just have 2 appointments for the time being for my daily goal. On top of that, I do want to start throwing in some FSBOs into my cold calling. I need to start learning some of the scripts to where I'm a little more comfortable to start touching in on the FSBOs.
Okay.
And then I need to fill in the gaps in my database on information like phone numbers and emails, because a lot of my Facebook contacts, I don't have those in there. So my goal is to do that. And then on top of that, I want to start doing daily posts with Facebook, and also throw in a paid ad. And then something else I learned this last week is I need to drop out of the Monday through Friday 9 to 5 mentality. So it's also going to be a goal of mine to start doing some cold calling for 2 hours Saturday and Sunday.
Wait till you see the open rate, my friend. That's when you're going to start to give yourself some days in the week where you don't have to cold call. If you do that, give yourself some grace. 2 hours a day, 7 days a week, it works. And I'm not saying you have to jump off it, but if you do start to get a little bit, behind on some other things, I heard a lot of things right there. Like you need to practice your scripts. That's
Yep.
key. So if you start to get behind, I would take the time during the week's lead gen hours and not take back the weekend ones.
Okay.
And then let's so you have a large December, and I'm not saying this is not obtainable, but I want to make it measurable. So if you guys bear with me and Patrick here for a second. So Patrick, one listing out of cold calling, you've been dialing now for a couple of months, have a couple of different, decent listing leads.
Mhm.
How many people do you plan on connecting with, actual contacts through cold calling this month to get that lead?
Conversations?
Yes.
So I want to do like 100 conversations a week. So around, I guess, 400 people.
Perfect. That, like you've been on track for, that should get you a pretty hot to trot listing lead, if not a couple hot buyer leads for sure. So with that being said, how long are you taking currently to get your 20 in a day? No judgment, Patrick. This is all you. I want to help you with this because you've got, you put it in the work, my friend. You're going to be blossoming here soon. I want to make sure we're on the right page.
For sure. So my goal has been to go with 5 hours a day of prospecting of the cold calling, but I've not been hitting that 5 hours.
Have you been hitting 20
every
though?
time. What was that?
Have you been hitting 20 though?
20 conversations?
Yeah. No. Okay.
No.
Okay. So if you're going to go through December, hitting about 400 contacts through cold calling, about 5 hours a day, this is where we got to make sure we can get in the rest of your accomplishments, because you want to call your database and fill in the voids.
Right.
So when is that going to take place, and how many people do you have to contact?
So that one, I'll have over 300 people.
Okay.
To contact. And then I honestly don't know when would be the best time. I don't know if evening is the best time for that or what.
I don't think there's a better or worse time. When you talk to your sphere, they're more likely to call you back from a voicemail. You're cold calling, they're not likely to. That's why we leave kind of vague voicemails, right? What I'm getting at is then let's just say, so you have 300 people, you have 400 through cold calls, you're going to have a way better response and open rate from your sphere. So you're not going to be taking 5 hours a day to get 300, but you may take about an hour a day to get to 300. So now we're at about 6 hours of work. And then we need to practice, we need to role play, we need to continue to go on things like this, because I mean, this is taking up everybody's hour. And so here's, I guess, one of the things that you're going to be either willing to do. One is work about 8 hours a day, every single day for December, or like you said, circumvent that with some of your Saturdays and Sundays. But you are on that second phase of lead generation where you will start to get down your 20 contacts from 5 hours to 4 to 3. I would say that I would have a secondary goal on top of that listing lead. Work on that conversion rate. Not is it conversion rate I'm looking for? Work on that efficiency rate. When you can get down 20 contacts in about 2.5 hours, your life becomes, this industry becomes butter. It's a cakewalk. It's mindless and it's numbing for 2.5 hours. But if you do it every single day, it goes by really, really fast. You have the rest of the day to go on your appointments, do some other things, call your sphere and put all that stuff in. So I would challenge you to work on that. Week 1 is just this week. How can I get 20 contacts in 4 hours? That's like your ever push this week.
Okay.
Cool, man. Thanks for letting me pick on you for a second.
Of course.
Carlson.
Okay. I have a very specific list. Send 50 handwritten notes to people that are likely to list within my kind of my neighborhood. I want to I'd love to get these guys under listing agreements, but I am going to settle for appointments for 3 people. But I really want those nailed in by the end of the year, and that's doable. I have a brand new buyer that I've got over the weekend. I want to get them under an agency agreement. So I want to get that signed. And then I just got another referral this morning. So I really want to get them signed on an agreement, but more importantly, get them on track with an appointment and a lender. And then I want to get my new buyer under contract before the end of the year or right around there. And I want to interview and hire a TC.
Ooh.
So those are that's my list.
All right.
I'm
gonna give you my TC's info.
Okay, and I have 2 interviews this week too, but I'd love yours.
Good, because I'd be stunned if you don't go with her.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just kidding. She's awesome.
Okay. And then all the while still collecting leads digitally.
Wrong one. Sorry.
And just kind of keeping them in my pipeline. Seems like the digital ones, none of them are super urgent, at the very moment. So kind of keeping them in their drips and doing all that, but really, honing in on the ones that I think are, number ones. I just need to get in front of their face,
How'd you get your referral this morning?
It's my buyer client who will continue to bring me millions. She's awesome. She's the president of a company locally, and she is hiring so many people. So they're moving from all over the country, but she's kind of concerned about, and it was a really nice value add, for her. She was concerned that this person's credit isn't the best and that they may not have enough for a down payment. And so I had a long talk with her, which she ended with, "Oh my gosh, I'm so glad that I called you this morning, and I'm so glad you're my agent." And I followed up with an email. And so the other person and I will connect this week. Because a lot of people don't know about and that was just honestly for meeting with Grant. He schooled me and everything at Simple Loans. It's such a huge relief for people not knowing, that they might have bad credit, but they can still, get in the home of their dreams or get on a plan to get into that home. So,
or just know what the threshold of what they need to work on to get to.
Yeah.
A lot of people are like, I need to work on my credit. What are you trying to accomplish? What are you trying to get to? And then they have no clue. And it's like, well, how are you working on it? So no, that's good. Always talk to lenders about that for sure.
So
Mr. Heinzelman. Oh, I'm sorry.
Nope, that's it.
Mr. Heinzelman.
Good morning. Good almost afternoon.
How's your real estate? Yeah, I can hear you. How's your December look as far as real estate sales goes?
I have nothing under contract, to be transparent. I do have a blossoming sales pipeline. And so with kind of the focus on Q1, I don't know who's going to pop first, but I do have them all in a spreadsheet now. And my next step is going to be, I've got about 3 people I need to put up on searches. And then I have 2 people I need to do CMAs for today. I had a lot of fun reaching out to everyone that wished me a happy birthday and just say, hey, thanks for the love, and just try and reciprocate that appreciation back to them. And I got a townhouse listing lead here in Longmont out of it, out of nowhere, out of someone I honestly can't remember how we became Facebook friends.
Awesome. Let me break that down. I want to share with everybody who Jimmy is. Jimmy, I would say, a very seasoned agent. Yeah, out of this group, he's definitely the most seasoned agent. Been doing this now for 3.5 years. I wanted him on this today. 1, to pick on him a little bit, but 2, to get him engaged. Him and I are talking again and trying to get him going on his real estate journey and path. Jimmy was a first-year solo agent capper, and he is one who did things very well. He also had a lot of hurdles, a lot of road bumps, a lot of learning moments. And so he is definitely one that if you guys ever need to reach out to just to ask another question, have another shoulder to cry on, figure out what he did. He absolutely built his business off of relationships and the people that he knows, loves, and trusts. And one of the things that I love about Jimmy is he absolutely does not give up. He's relentless in the sense that he's constantly challenging his mind to figure out how and who he can reach out to and talk to more people. I've never seen someone like Jim absolutely push himself every single day to figure out a new and exciting way to talk to people. And so one of the things I want to break down that he just mentioned was on his birthday. He just had a birthday. What was it, Jim? November
16th.
16th. He just had a birthday November 16th. And so everybody, likes his post and, messages him happy birthday. And you guys know how there's a lot of people out there that just go through their list, and it's just by default, they just put happy birthday. I mean, he literally just said there is somebody that's a listing lead now who he has no clue even how they got on his Facebook page, but they must have reached out, said happy birthday. And then what he did was he took that entire post and one by one privately messaged every single person that wished him a happy birthday and that liked his post.
Wow.
Whether or not he knew them or had any interaction with them, whether it was his mom, his dad, whoever, he just went fearless with it. And you used to have a saying, Jim. What did you used to say? You have a lot of sayings, but man, the one that you said the most often when we were working together. Well, I forget, my friend, but you're tenacious. You gosh darn it. You're selfless. What the?
Shameless.
Shamelessly ass. Yeah. That's Jimmy's mentality. That's like Jimmy's like mantra every time he wakes up.
Oh goodness.
How
Bruce,
many people are
you're gonna make me
shamelessly
blush.
ask?
You're
Well,
gonna make me blush.
You can't with that big grizzly beard, my friend.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think my personality leads itself to be a little bit shameless when I ask. And I was confronted by an agent who said, Jimmy, I hate lead generating because I feel like I'm begging. And I really challenged that person. And I said, I would only feel like I'm begging if I wasn't a professional, if I didn't know that I was really good at helping people and really passionate about helping people. And that fueled my, kind of my shamelessness about asking. Like some of my really good friends and family members, when I'm on the phone with them, I will literally say, hey, just to be shameless, do you know anyone I can help right now? Because then we can laugh about it, but I'm still planting that idea. And I have to say that woman who wrote me happy birthday, I don't know if she was a friend of a friend or we had mutual friends, but all I said was, thanks for the birthday, love. How are you guys holding up during this wild time? And then she got to telling me she needed to sell her house. And it's kind of taking aside, I mean, it's hard to do, but taking aside your ego and just being like, hey, this is what I do. How can I help?
Well, I like what you said there, because that's exactly the way, I love it, Jim. You're giving them all sorts of different perspective, right? Like I use consultant when I talk to people. Some people use your real estate resource. Jimmy just says, look, it's beyond me to be an agent and not ask you. That's really what he's saying. I got to shamelessly ask you right now.
It's my job.
I catch myself saying the same thing. I meet somebody in the grocery store. They find out I'm an agent. And by the end of the conversation, I'm going, hey, you know what? As awkward as this is, and we just met, it's beyond me to be an agent and not ask you. Do you know of anybody that's looking to buy or sell a home? No? Fantastic. It's great meeting you. Have a great day. Jimmy is the one person that I used to mastermind with all the time. I'm talking double, triple times a week. And he's the one, if you guys have watched any of the Buyers Ignite videos, he's the one that started using a lead follow-up campaign called What's Up. So what he does is you're laughing because it works, man. I cannot believe this works, but it works.
I can't believe it works either.
So he'll take an old lead list from a couple years ago, and out of people that never responded, never did anything. And if he sends them a message that says, hey, this is Jim, and I wanted to talk to you about your home buying needs, he gets nothing. And then he sends a text message that just says to the same people, what's up? And they'll respond back, who is this? Not much. Do I know you? How'd you get my number? Who is this? And then he instead of responding, what does Jim do? Yep. He knows they're on the phone now. So he'll literally text his list, what's up? And then if they say, who is this? I don't know you. How'd you get my number? He just picks up the phone and calls them because he knows they're right there. And 99% of the time, curiosity kills them. They have to know who the heck this is. They just said, what's up? Now they're calling me. Something's important. He gets a lot of people to respond. That's what Jimmy does. He's always trying to think around, you know, how to talk to more people, because he knows that's the name of his game.
It's all about breaking that, breaking the barriers and showing a human that you're human. So when I say what's up and they say not much, who's this, and then I call them, they know I'm a human on the other line. And I know that they're a human on the other line, you know? And I will say sometimes they won't answer your call. And I've gotten some mixed responses, but still responses from, we spoke about, this is Jim, we spoke 6 months ago about buying a house. Did you give up on that goal or are you closer to it? And then they have to, especially if I remember having a conversation with them. But most of the time, Bruce is right. I just call them because I know that they're on the other line. I know they're holding their phone.
And that's a great question, right? Have you given up on your goal of home ownership? No one wants to admit that.
No,
right?
No.
And if they have, they're going to tell you why, and most likely, anybody that says they've given up, usually it's kind of a valid reason, is what I found. But anybody that's like, well, no, you know, they kind of just, they don't want to say no if they haven't truly done it yet. And then that it can get into conversation. Awesome. Well, thanks for being here, Jim.
Thanks for having me, Bruce.
Yeah,
I'm pumped. I'm hearing great things from this group.
Good.
Yeah.
You should be. No, let's talk about a situation that Melissa and I have been dealing with. I want to share a little tidbit that we found. She stumped me this weekend. I had no idea how to answer this question. She's got that buyer going under contract potentially on a for sale by owner, and they're looking at negotiating a closing date. So going under contract now and negotiating a close date sometime in the spring. When are you guys thinking?
Mid-April.
Mid-April. And the question was, if she goes under contract now, when can the appraisal be done? And in my mind, the only time I ever really do a long closing like that is usually like a 60-day, which that's always going to be good. If you do the appraisal, you know, week 1, week 2, it's good for the 60 days. But on a new build, on like a track home build, the appraisal doesn't really happen until the home is complete. So I'm never really worried about that timeline. So when she asked me this, it was a new question for me. I had no idea. But we found out the answer, or she found out the answer. Thank you, Melissa. That if she does the appraisal now, it's good for another 6 months. So if she does the appraisal after she goes under contract, she's not going to have to do any sort of secondary appraisal unless the contract goes beyond a 6-month time period after the contract. It makes sense now that she says it, but little nugget that I could not put any sort of solidarity on. So cool. So let's talk some more about the holiday season and just getting in all of these goals, because if we all know we have to put in the effort this month. You guys will not, your first quarter, if you guys have a goal for next year and you guys don't do this month, then you can instantly, most likely, just go ahead and reduce your goal by 8%. Because these 31 days are that important to next year. And it's because everything you do now will start to show up next year. There's very little chance that if you got a lead today, went out and showed them property today or tomorrow and put them under contract by, let's call it tomorrow or Wednesday, you're most likely still closing in January. Just because we're about at that under 30-day mark for a contract. So again, I'm such a God family business type of person that I had to figure out in my career how to make an effective November, December, January, and February in a time of year where we don't feel like it. It's cold outside, the sun's going down earlier, there's more family gatherings, Christmas parties. I mean, this year's going to be a little different for sure. But that could also cause inactivity too. If you don't have enough places to go to, you're missing family. It's going to cause this lack of momentum in your life. And so I really want you guys to take your goal for next year and chop it by 8%. Hitting 92% of your goal next year just in 1 month of not doing something can be detrimental to your goal, especially if you have any other months where you come up short on your activities or your goal, because then you're just going to have to add to that 8%. And then you're going to get back to the end of the year, and no business likes to be down 8%, let alone if you even take another couple of weeks or another couple of months off next year. It can hurt. So how do we circumvent that? How do we go through that? I encourage you guys to, whatever kind of calendar system you use, figure out a way to look at it in a complete full monthly view. And I want you guys to carve out every single family event and every single thing that you're going to be doing for the holiday season, right? I want you to block off Christmas Eve. I want you to block off Christmas Day. I want you to block off those Saturdays, Friday nights that you're Zooming with your family or going out to somebody else's house for game night. If anything's scheduled, I want you to block it off. And then I want you to also block off probably about 5 or 6 more places. And this is where we start to erase and replace. So I want you to block off about 5 or 6 extra areas. Maybe it's, 5 or 6 other evenings, or maybe another couple of weekend days or something that you can block off as your personal time. And then what happens is as the world brings different things to your plate throughout December, and you've got to schedule something, take one of those blocks and move it over to wherever that came in at, and give yourself that grace. Make sure that family time and that personal time is taken out, because then when you can look at your calendar over these next 4 weeks, you know when your personal time is. And if you put enough personal time in your calendar, it's going to help motivate you to do the necessary things during those other times that you did set aside to work. It's a psychological thing. I know that they say we should be doing that every single month, every single week as it is. I mean, that's what Gary Keller does. He takes a look at his planner every month and every week, and he will go through and he'll highlight date night. He'll highlight all of his personal stuff. And now Gary does not erase and replace. If it's blocked out to have a personal night and he has nothing on his calendar and somebody asks him to do something, he's not going to do it. I encourage you guys to get there as well. But one of the things that I've learned to do is block out 5 or 6 extra pieces. And if you get something in your life that you get an invitation to, and it doesn't fall on that night, take one of those 5 or 6 nights and put it on top of there, and you still got all your personal time. If you don't have enough personal time carved out in your calendar, you're probably still not going to find your motivation during the times that you're willing to do things. So that's step 1. Absolutely do that. Step 2 is, now more than ever with all of these distractions, we have to have those measurable weekly goals. Just like there was plenty of people that I wanted to call out here, and I didn't even text Patrick on the side to let him know I was going to call him out and have a little coaching session with him. Caleb, you were right there. I don't know why I chose Patrick. But I wanted, no, and that's the thing. I don't want to single Patrick out, but I wanted to have every single one of them with you guys. Make December measurable. If there's 1 month that you cannot slack off with your to-do list and your days, and really breaking down, okay, if I have a goal of 20 a day, it takes me 5 hours to do that 20. I also need to practice my FSBO scripts. I need to practice my cold call script, and I need to reach out to my sphere. Now measure that. Can you get through that every single day, 5 days a week? Or do you need to go into Saturday, Sunday, and maybe put, like, he literally just said he's going to free up 4 hours of his work week. If he does 2 hours on Saturday and 2 hours on Sunday, if he has time to do it during the week, he's going to go ahead and do it. But if he doesn't, he just freed up another 4 hours to practice that script. Like, I commend you for that, because that shows you're just willing to do whatever it takes to hit that and get Q1 started off right. And for those of you that have other jobs, there's a couple different people on here that have other jobs. Your day-to-day is no different than December, except it adds that extra element of distraction, for sure. Are you getting off here, Ian? Thank you.
So one of the things somebody asked Gary Keller this morning on a call, what's he going to do this month in December, and then, or what should they do? And then with COVID, what should you do? And he had 2 things. he said, if you have 4 things that you do, whether it's cold calling, whatever, there's 2 that should be on that list, and they should be either on the top 2 or within the top 4. And that was call your database and do social media as many days as you can. So as you're building your calendar out, those are 2 things that you want to make sure that you're adding to things that you want to get done in December. And that's coming from Gary Keller, who, that guy's has figured out those things that work and those things that don't. So that would be my suggestion. The other thing that I love that he said today was, hey guys, when you're setting up your calendar, you're a marketing company in the morning and you're a service company in the afternoon. And if you live by those rules, you'll set yourself up on your calendar and it'll work well. I thought, wow, that's a really cool sort of concept. So anyway, I just wanted to share the things that he said.
What is that? Marketing in the morning and
marketing company in the morning and you're a service company in the afternoon.
Service company in the afternoon.
I just liked it. It just fit because you're servicing your customers in the afternoon that you've taken care of all morning. And in the morning, you're marketing yourself. Just like Jim said, he's marketing himself every day. He just has different techniques that he uses. But again, going back, database and social media were the top 2 for Gary that he said agents should be doing right now. Not only because it's December, but because we have COVID situations in the market.
No, I like that too. Exactly. That's how simplistic, but yet still measurable you need to look at December. It's so easy to get distracted, and I'm going to preach this over and over and over again. Anybody in partnership with me and Harry will not have a seasonality trend in their business unless you choose to. If you choose to take off this month, you will have that seasonality trend. Year over year, my best months are December. I would say my worst years are my worst months are February and March. And I think that's because sometimes I get so darn busy in December that I'm also trying to put in all of that family time that then it shows up in those February, March times.
And think about this for a second, what Bruce was just saying. A lot of agents are going to not do anything in December just because of the holidays. So guess what? Your competition became less. And so you're that person out there now talking to those people going, I'm your agent. And don't think that people don't go, wow, man, it's the holiday season. This guy's out busting it. What's he going to do when it's not holiday season?
Bingo. You can build up such a good pipeline right now between December and January. That's like your pipeline building time, as well as all of the people that you wouldn't believe how many people I can convince. And that's the thing. It's not even to convince. I just share with them what the market does and how the seasonality trends work. Instead of listing in May like they thought would be the best month, they list in March and get multiple offers and get on with their life. And then they're settled in their next place before summer even hits. These are the conversations that you can have with people. Obviously, I'm not a proponent of forcing anybody to do something before they absolutely need to. But if there's an opportunity to share with them why it could be a good idea to do it sooner, then share that with them. Same thing in the summer. I share with people sometimes to wait until winter. So I'm not all about pushing people into doing it now or sooner, but this is the time of year I push a little harder for the people that say, well, Bruce, I really don't know why I'm waiting till June. I guess that's just what we had in our head, right? The reality is interest rates are down right now. Buyers are out there competing left and right over houses because interest rates are down. And they're also afraid that price points are going to continue to rise up over what they can afford. It's a great time for a seller.
And say what you want, but if somebody comes to my door right now when it's colder than hell outside and they're selling or doing something, I'm impressed, right? Because they're working hard and they want business. And I think agents are the same way. If you're going to go farm and you're going to knock on some doors, I think you'll be surprised if people are impressed the fact that you're out there doing that. It just shows your work ethic to me, right?
Bingo.
I mean, you're in a month where a lot of people aren't doing that.
Bingo. So that's pretty much all I have for everyone today. We have about 10 minutes left. We can either jump off or we can go into Q&A. We can help some people out with their situations, or we can work on some scripts. Nothing from nobody? No, it's all good. It's a Monday. Thanks for joining us, Chelsea, Jimmy. Appreciate you guys. Reach out with any questions. Congrats, Ariana. First closings are huge. And another buyer under contract. That's great. No, seriously, put forth that effort. I'll see you guys either next Monday. I'm still working on a topic for Wednesday. I was supposed to have that done off my to-do list this morning before this call, but I still haven't solidified where I want the topic for Wednesday to go. What do you guys think you want to hear? So one of the things that I was thinking about doing now that I finally got these, I have a buyer and I have a seller, now what, was honestly just taking the time to go through them on video and basically understanding what they mean. I don't know if that'd be of relevance to you guys or if you guys just want to read that through on your own. Erica's shaking her head. You'd like to see something like that? Or think that'd be okay?
I
like
was
that
gonna
idea.
ask you to do that for me anyway. So if you're gonna already do it,
Yeah.
that would be good.
Okay. Cool. No, it will be, because obviously you guys know me. If you guys really wanted me to sit down with you and talk to you about, when you get your first buyer, hey Bruce, now what? We would sit down for 8 hours. That's why I can't do those questions. Those questions they're too loaded. And so these checklists will have a lot of great things on there, but I think it could cause a lot of other questions in the video. Like, hey, I saw somebody, you don't have this on your checklist. Why not? I saw other people do this. Challenge me on it. I think that might be a good class. Then we could segue into something else too. Cool.